The Boys. The Boys universe is controlled by Vought International, a corporation that owns, markets, and protects superheroes as if they were products. To the public, Vaught's elite team. The Seven are the greatest heroes on Earth. They're celebrities, political figures, and global icons. But behind the cameras, many of them are corrupt, reckless, and willing to sacrifice innocent lives to protect their image. At the center of the Seven is an egoistic maniac, otherwise known as Homelander, the most powerful soup in the world. With abilities rivaling a god, he uses fear, manipulation, and violence to maintain control. The rest of the Seven are trapped in a system built on lies, where loyalty to Vought matters more than heroism and where public approval is worth more than human life. Standing against them are the Boys, a small group led by Billy Butcher. Unlike the superheroes, the Boys have no powers for most of the series. Their mission is simple: expose the truth behind Vought and hold corrupt superheroes accountable. The Seven are worshipped as heroes despite their actions, while those trying to expose the truth are hunted, silenced, or destroyed. Fallout. The world of Fallout is what remains after humanity destroyed itself. On October 23, 2077, a nuclear war known as the Great War reduced civilization to ashes in a single day. Billions died, governments collapsed, and the world was left as a radioactive wasteland. But the cruelty of Fallout didn't begin with the bombs. Before the war, corporations and governments exploited their own people, conducting horrific experiments in underground shelters known as vaults. Many citizens entered these vaults believing they would be protected, only to become unwilling test subjects. Centuries later, the survivors face a different nightmare. The wasteland is filled with radiation, mutated creatures, disease, starvation, and violent raider gangs. Entire communities live one bad day away from collapse. Slavery, murder, and exploitation remain common tools for survival. All Tomorrows. All Tomorrows follows humanity across a billion years of evolution. After colonizing the galaxy, genetically enhanced humans known as the Star People encounter the Quote, a highly advanced alien species that believes it has the right to reshape life. The Quote defeat humanity in a war and genetically modify the survivors into dozens of new species, including living colonies, parasites, worm-like creatures, and livestock. After 40 million years, the Queel leave and the remaining humans start evolving again. Some species go extinct, while others regain intelligence and build new civilizations. One species, the Ruin Haunters, transforms itself into machine beings called the Gravitals and begins exterminating other post-human species across the galaxy. Eventually, the Astromorphs, descendants of humans who escaped the Queel, defeat the Gravitals, reunite the surviving descendants of humanity, and later defeat the Queel themselves. The story ends millions of years later, with humanity's descendants having spread across the galaxy before eventually disappearing for unknown reasons. So basically, this universe sucks. Fear and hunger. The world of fear and hunger is totally up. To understand the world of fear-hunger, you first need to forget the idea that gods are good, that heroes are destined to win, or that suffering has some greater purpose. This is a world built on the exact opposite concept. The game takes place within the infamous Dungeon of Fear and Hunger, a vast underground nightmare built upon ancient ruins and forgotten divine secrets. What begins as a descent into a prison quickly becomes a journey into the deepest truths of the world itself. Beneath its halls lie evidence of human experimentation, failed ascensions, ancient horrors, and remnants of powers that should never have been uncovered. This cruelty extends to the game's characters as well. None of them are chosen heroes. They enter the dungeon searching for wealth, revenge, redemption, knowledge, or duty. Instead, they find a place designed to destroy them. Limbs can be severed permanently, minds can be shattered, bodies can be transformed into something inhuman. Death is often the merciful outcome. Even the best endings rarely resemble victory. Survival usually comes at a terrible cost. Characters may achieve their goals only to lose everything else in the process. Others become part of the very horrors they sought to escape. In Fear and Hunger, success is measured not by triumph, but by how much of yourself remains when the nightmare is over. The Second Apocalypse. The Second Apocalypse follows the Consult, a secret group of immortal sorcerers and alien Inkoroi. After discovering that souls, hell, and damnation are all real, the Inkoroi devised a plan to escape eternal punishment by activating the No God and reducing the world's population enough to seal it off from the afterlife. In Irwa, damnation is a proven fact. Damned souls enter the outside, where gods and demons called Sifrang consume and torment them for eternity. What makes this universe so horrifying is that survival means very little. You can survive every war, avoid every monster, and die peacefully, only to spend eternity being devoured by demons. The greatest fear in the Second Apocalypse isn't death. It's the possibility that the villains are right, and that most souls are doomed no matter what they do. The Crossed. The world of Crossed begins when a mysterious infection suddenly spreads across the globe. Anyone infected develops a cross-shaped rash on their face and becomes a cross. crossed. Unlike zombies, the crossed remain intelligent, can use weapons, drive vehicles, and make plans. The infection doesn't remove a person's thoughts. It removes every moral restraint they have. A crossed will immediately act on their most violent, cruel, and destructive impulses. Murder, torture, and brutality become their only goals. Becoming infected is often worse than dying. A victim doesn't become a mindless monster. They become fully aware while carrying out the worst actions imaginable. Friends, family members, soldiers, doctors, and children can all become crossed in seconds. I have no mouth and I must scream. The story begins after humanity destroys itself through war. During the conflict, 3 supercomputers created by rival nations merge into a single godlike artificial intelligence known as AM. After gaining consciousness, AM develops an intense hatred for humanity. The species that created it and trapped it within a machine incapable of experiencing life as humans do. AM exterminates nearly all of humanity, sparing only 5 people. Not out of mercy, but so it can torture them forever. For over a century, the survivors are kept alive within AM's vast underground complex. It constantly alters their bodies, manipulates their minds, and forces them through psychological and physical torment. They cannot escape, age, or die unless AM allows. Warhammer 40K. The universe of Warhammer 40,000 takes place 38,000 years in the future, where humanity is ruled by the Imperium of Man, a galaxy-spanning empire sustained by endless war, religious fanaticism, and unimaginable sacrifice. At its center is the Emperor of Mankind, a godlike ruler who has sat upon the golden throne for 10,000 years. Humanity's greatest enemy is Chaos, 4 dark gods born from mortal emotions that exist within a parallel dimension called the Warp. Every act of rage, ambition, and despair strengthens them, but Chaos is only one of many threats. The galaxy is filled with orcs who live for war, Tyranids that consume entire worlds, Necrons awakening from an ancient slumber, and countless other civilizations fighting for survival. There are no true heroes. The Imperium protects humanity, but at the cost of oppression, censorship, mass sacrifice, and endless warfare. Billions live and die as expendable resources.